Hi, good day. We're back again, AUTODESK Inventor Professional 2020. Now, let's talk about a mechanical business. So, there are times that you will be often see designs that are made of several copies of a single element placed in a specific way. So, it could be, for example, be a series of grooves encircling an imagine circle. So it can be also be found the edges of an imagine rectangle, such as in the grooves of a pedestal bearing. It's a tiresome and time-consuming usually to task to draw the sketches for such a futures which are you have to do it all over and over again. To circumvent this time-consuming process, so Autodesk Inventors gives you the options of constructing the patterns with drawn things while you're still sketching. The patterns are defined as an order in which the copies of the selected entities are arranged, and the patterns can be made either rectangular or circular shape. Okay, so let's proceed. So again, we are in the project name A. Now, let's start with the part file so we can draw our sketch there. So let's try to start up your double click by clicking this one. So let's start by creating our sketch, 2D sketch on our YZ plane, XZ plane, sorry about that. Then let's try to draw here a simple rectangle. I'll try to draw here a rectangle. I have here now rectangle. Now I will going to escape here and put a dimension on this one. Just click here. Okay. So given that the three dimensions, so I'm gonna give the dimensions here. For example, I'm gonna give it as a sample of let's say give it a 500 mm by, try to zoom that one, zoom out. Then this will be given by let's say this is 300 mm. So let's try to zoom out these options here. Then we have noticed here we are now fully constrained. Okay, so I will try to draw a small rectangle like this part. This free time I'm not constraining this lately. Later on we'll try to constrain this one. So let's have to give it a dimension, and this one give it initially dimension, and let's try to change this one to, let's say 50 mm, and this one is, let's say this is maybe around 30 mm for the distance. Now we have here pattern, we have rectangular, circular, and we have also your mirror. So let's try to do a rectangular pattern. So by double clicking the name of rectangular pattern, the icon of this one, so you will have a rectangular pattern. Then we shall have here the geometry. Now this geometry button is chosen by in default, and it's used to select the entities to be patterned. You can select one or more entities to be patterned using any selection technique. Now we have here direction 1. So the direction 1, so this area provides the option for defining the first direction of pattern creation, the number of copies to be created in this direction, and placing between the entities. Now for the direction, this one with the arrow, it is used to select the first direction of the rectangular pattern. Okay, then the other options in the direction 1 area will be available only after you define the first direction of the pattern or pattern creation. Now the direction can be defined by selecting a line segment, so we can also draw that line segment there, and also which can be at any angle that we wishes to do. Now the resultant pattern will also be created at an angle. So if the line is to be specified, direction it at an angle. So let's say as you define the first direction, you can preview the pattern created using the current values in the drawing window. Now, this pattern preview will be modified dynamically on changing the values in the dialog box. Okay, so first things first, I would like to constrain this one since we are required here, 3 dimensions are required to constrain our drawing here. So I'm gonna provide here a distance for the how much offset, that is 18 mm, and also the spacing below. So I have 15.89. Okay, so we still got we call this how much one dimension. So I'll try to use the parallel constraint here. So I'm going to make sure that this one are parallel. Okay. So we are now constraining this one. So you will notice here by means of using the constraint here, this is our now parallel. So it means that they are completely going at the same directions, nor intersecting when we say that is parallel. Okay, so I'm gonna escape that one. So we have now initial sketch are now fully constrained. So let's go to our rectangular pattern. So I'm gonna click this icon, so rectangular pattern, clicking that one. Now I have here geometry. So let's start to define our geometry that we would like to have a pattern. So initially we'll be using this one. So I'm gonna click this. So using your left mouse button and click and hold it, press and drag. Then you will notice here we have your rectangulars being highlighted, and we have already selected our geometry. Then we have here our direction. So we have here your button arrow to define we need to define the direction of our patterns. So I'm gonna use this line to be as the basis of our direction. So you will notice here we have an arrow here indicating where is the direction of our pattern. Now that will be extended or flowing on this side, or our left side, right side of the of initial sketch. Then I'm gonna give this button we have here your count. So I'm gonna give here a number of 5 to define the quantities. So you will notice here an initial rectangle is being produced, that you will notice here they are now overlapping because we have the given spacing that is 10 mm. So in order that there will not be overlapping, so let's have this distance plus the 10 mm, which is your spacing. So I'm gonna give this 10 plus 50, so that will be 60 mm for the distance. So you will notice here we have created this one. So I'm gonna zoom out, or let's say zoom all, to see the output of our rectangular pattern. Then I'm gonna click OK to generate the pattern. So we have now that one. Okay, so you will see that we have already offset this one, or let's say we have created the spacing of our for example, that will be a 10 mm. Now to inspect the distance, so to ensure that this is already 10 mm, so you can also use your dimension to measure this one. Okay, so you will notice here adding the dimensions will over the constraint. So choose to accept the driven dimensions. So just like to accept just only for driven. So this is only just to be to give us call this basis that we are the spacing of our 10 mm. So it does not affect already also in our sketch. So if we're going to edit, so let's go to another way of creating patterns. So let's try to edit the pattern that we have here. I'm gonna press escape here, then I'm gonna click the line, highlight that line, then right click mouse button. So we can also delete the pattern or edit the pattern or undo and suppress the element. So we try to edit the pattern here. Then we will be using the direction 2. So direction 2, we can specify our y. So we can also specify our y direction here. So let's use, so this is okay. So let's try to, so since we have already conducted, so we cannot edit this one, but just to undo that one. So let's try to, so we cannot edit in that way. So let's try to undo our process here. So that we can use direction 2. Okay, at least we are now aware of the direction 1 and we cannot edit it directly there. So I'm gonna use again a rectangular pattern. So I'm gonna click my geometry here. So this one. So clicking that one, then I have your direction. So giving it the count of 5, and we have the spacing of 60 mm. Okay, so this being now. Then I'm gonna click my second direction. So I'm gonna use this line to give a direction. You will notice the arrow which is pointing toward going down, but we try to use a pattern that is pointing upward. So I'm gonna flip this one. So we are now here inside. Then we also notice that we have an overlapping here since we have a given a spacing of 10 mm. So initially our pattern has a height of 30 mm. So let's try to add it by 10 mm. So it will become 40 mm. So you will notice here that it is being offsetted to 10 mm spacing. So I'm gonna click OK. So we have now our pattern being created in this manner. So if we try to edit, so you can also right click on this one, highlight the line, and you can either delete the pattern, okay, if you want to change the, they call this sketch. If you want to modify, so you can do that one. So I'm gonna click undo on that one to go back there. So just exploring the other options that we have here that is being given by the Autodesk Inventor. And also we have we call this edit the pattern. So we can increase the numbers here. So we have only two rows here, so we can increase also the number of rows that we have. Let's say I'm gonna give it this one 5, or let's say want to give this one around 8, or let's say, or maybe around 7. See? And also for our columns, we can also increase this one by 8. Okay, that's already being created. I'm just editing that one, and let's try to press the OK. What will be the outcome? Okay, so we have created already the pattern that we wishes to be done. Now, if we will try to change the dimension of our host pattern, or the head pattern, or let's say the head sketch here. So what I have here initially, I have 50 mm. So if I will try to change this one as let's say I'm gonna give the distance or what of this one as a 30 mm. So you will notice, I will zoom out. So you will notice that every pattern so changes the way that the host pattern have changed the dimension. Then if I will try to change this one as a 20 mm, also everything follows. So that is also one way of changing the dimension. So initially you have given already, rather than changing each pattern the dimension or making it copy paste and paste and so on. So it is a tiresome activity. So by using this pattern or rectangular pattern, so we can expedite our work. Okay, so we can now save us our activity, save us. So you can save the part 11 sketch mode. You would like to sketch mode, continue saving, you can just press OK. So we are now in the exiting the sketch mode. Then I'm gonna save this as a part 14 for our activity. Save as save. So I'm gonna click replace yes. So, has been modified. Please saving with the right to change the word. Okay, we will preserve the changes. Save copy this. Okay. Okay, so then next topic we'll be discussing the circular pattern. So please proceed to next video.